everybody. So you've been asking me for a little while to do some videos online, and I've been putting it off and putting it off, but I've decided that today is the day. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to help you get out of yours as well. So as I'm beginning with my videos, I'm a beginner. I thought I'd start you off with a beginner yoga flow. It's going to be about between 10 to 15 minutes long, and anybody can do this if you haven't practiced yoga before. You don't actually need any props today, even though I've got some there, so you just need yourself and some space so that you can lay down. You don't even need a mat, but just make sure you've got somewhere that you're not going to slip or hurt yourself. So you're going to come down to a lying down position, and in yoga we call this Shavasana, and it is probably the most loved yoga pose of them all. So you're just going to come down and laying flat on your mat. Just take a moment to take the feet out, widening hip distance apart, let the shoulders roll down away from the ears, and just rest the arms to the side of the body, the palms facing upwards. If you feel this isn't right for your lower back, you could always roll the blanket up and put it underneath your knees or even your lower back if that would be better for you. Or if all else fails, you can always bend the knees and let the knees fall inwards. If you're here with me, I just want you to take a moment just to close the eyes and just notice what your breathing is doing. Just take a moment here just to unclench the jaw. Notice if you're pressing the tongue into the roof of the mouth, and just releasing any frowns that you've got going on around the forehead. So as you breathe naturally, you might notice that actually your natural breath doesn't go very deep, and that's okay because we can work on that. So just pop one hand onto your tummy, one hand onto your heart. And again, just continue to notice the natural rhythm of the breath. How deep into the body that breath travels. And how long is that breath in and out. So in yoga, we always breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. It's a lot calming for the nervous system for us to breathe that way, and it actually allows us to bring on more oxygen into our bloodstream if we do nasal breathing. So just now, just start to breathe in through your nostrils and follow that breath as it travels into the body. Continue to inhale until you feel both of your palms rising and falling with your breath. So if you're a visual person, you might want to visualize your breath as a balloon. So as you inhale, your balloon expands out in all directions. And as you exhale, that balloon contracts and the tummy will start to soften and move back. Inhale, feel the ribs lift, the belly expand. And exhale nice and slowly with control. So we're looking to make our breath equal, so the inhalation and the exhalation are equal to one another. So you might want to start with inhaling for a count of 4 and exhaling for a count of 4. And just take a moment just to sink into that breath, find a little rhythm, feel the movement of the body. And just work on that breath just for the next few moments. Welcome to stay here as long as you need to just tune into that breath. And you might find today that actually I'm just going to stay and I'm going to work on my yogi breath. Because if you ask me, your breath is key. Please let your breath be priority over any movement. And in the beginning it is really hard because we get really excited and we think, oh, I want to do that pose, I don't care if I can't breathe in it. But actually we're going to give that breath the priority. So if you're stay there as long as you need to. And if you're coming with me, we're just going to step the feet in a little bit closer together. As you inhale, reach the arms over the back of the head and point the toes. Feel a gentle stretch come through the front of the ankles and really extend through your fingertips. As you exhale, we're going to sweep the arms back down. We're going to flex the feet, bringing the toes towards the shins. Inhale, point the toes, arms up and over. And exhale, back down. Just do that 2 more times, connecting your breath to your movement. Once you've done that, we're going to hug the knees into the belly. So pull both knees into the chest and give yourself a bit of a hug. You can rock gently from one side to the other. You might want to take the forehead towards the knees and really squeeze yourself in. And as you exhale, you're going to take the head and the shoulders back down. You're going to pop your left foot onto the mat and keep your right knee hugging in towards your chest. And then we're going to take a reclined pigeon pose. So we're going to just take your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. You're going to encourage the knee away from you. And actually, for some of you, you might find that here is enough today. And you can stay here, maybe having a little bit of a sway from side to side. Or if you want to go a bit further today, we're going to take hold of the back of this left leg. You can hold the back of the thigh, the front of the shin, or you can extend that left leg up and away. And the more you pull this left knee in towards the body, the deeper that stretch is going to feel on the outside of that right hip. So you could always sway gently. Just try and avoid any kind of bouncy, jerky movements in your stretches. Just going to hold it here for 2 more breaths. Inhale, 1. And 2. You're going to use your exhalation to take that leg back down to the mat and release the thigh. And you're going to spread the arms out nice and wide at shoulder height. Keep the ankle where it is. As you exhale, allow the knees to fall to the right and your head to roll to the left. So you should get a nice bit of a stretch through these little muscles that keep our ribs together. Another big breath in. Use the exhalation to move the knees deeper if that feels okay for you, and just try and keep this left shoulder grounded. It might pop up and that's fine. If it does, it just means the stretch is going to move slightly into a different part of the body. So if it's available, keep that left shoulder down. Couple more breaths here. And then we're going to inhale, come back up to center. Pop that right foot down and we're going to hug your left knee in. So just gently hugging that thigh in. If you feel a little bit tight around the top of your hip, you might prefer to take the knee out wide and then hug it in, because sometimes depending on how we're made, we have a bit of bone-on-bone compression. So we're just going to make it as comfortable as we can. Hugging the thigh in, and then taking ankle over the thigh, pushing the left knee away from you. And again, you can stay here if you would prefer to. If not, we're going to do the same on this side. Hugging that right thigh in, extending the leg if you went for that variation on the other side. Take around 3 to 4 breaths here. You can have a little bit of a sway again, or just find a little bit of stillness. So don't worry too much about what you physically look like. In the beginning, it's just really getting used to our breath, to our movement. And I just want you to worry more about what you feel like in a posture rather than what you actually look like. And then we're going to just hold 1 more breath. Exhale, bring that right foot down, bring the arms back out wide to shoulder height. Big breath into the tummy. Exhale, allow the knees now to fall to the left and your head to roll to the right. You're going to feel that same stretch coming to the right side of the body. And just really visualize filling up the right side of your lung. Breathing as deeply into the body as you can. And controlling the exhalation back out again. 3 more breaths. After that last breath, nice slow inhalation to bring the knees back up and popping that left foot back down. I'm going to keep the knees bent. I'm going to keep the feet hip distance apart. Bring the arms to the side of the body with the palms facing down. I'm going to take bridge pose. Bridge is a really nice gentle back bend and it's really good for opening up the front of the chest. So just make sure that your knees stack nicely over your ankles. And when you're ready, you're going to press the palms down, slowly scoop your tailbone away from the mat and lift each vertebrae one at a time. As much as we lift the hips, I want you to lift the heart as well. Really open that chest space. You might need to lift the chin slightly and just press down evenly through all 4 corners of your feet. The outside edges might start to lift in the beginning, that's fine. Just imagine you're trying to create a really nice footprint with your feet onto your mat. You could stay here for your breaths. If you prefer, we can inhale and take the arms over the back of the head. Don't have to, they're perfectly fine. Rest into the side of you. 3 more big breaths into that balloon, into your tummy. Inhale, 1. And exhale. 2. Keep that lift if you feel that you're dipping. 3. Last exhalation, we're going to control our roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. And then we're going to pull those knees back into the belly. This time cross the ankles over. We're going to start to rock up and down the spine. You can do this once, you can do it 100 times. But let most of your spine come into in contact with your mat if you can. Then you're going to rock all the way up to your seated position. So I want you to just sit nice and comfortably. If you feel like your lower back tends to round and slouch and the knees come up to the ears and they want to be best friends with your ears, we don't want them to be best friends with our ears. So don't be mad at yourself. We all started somewhere. So you just need to elevate your hips. So you might need a folded up blanket, or you can use one of these foam blocks, and just allowing those hips to lift will allow the knees to descend away from them and take some of that tension that we tend to carry around the top of your thighs. So I'm going to just turn around to face you, and you can stay on your block, and then from here just close the eyes once again and just go back to that belly breath. Don't be mad if you've lost that breath, it's fine. I'm going to keep reminding you anyway. Let's just take 2 more breaths here. And then we're going to take some seated twists. So as you inhale, reach the arms up. You can take the gaze towards your thumbs. And as you exhale, you're going to take your right hand to your left knee and your left hand behind you. As you inhale, lift nice and tall through the spine. Imagine you've got a piece of string on the crown of the head pulling you up. And on your exhalation, that's when you're going to go into the twist. So think about twisting through your waist. If you feel the twist through the waist, then you can go ahead and start to take the gaze over the left shoulder. If you're happy here, you can stay here. Each inhalation, lift a little bit taller. Each exhalation, seeing if you can twist deeper. 2 more rounds. 1, 2. Use an inhalation as you lift out. Exhale, left hand to right knee, right hand behind you. Inhale as you grow tall. Exhale as you twist into your twist. So twists are really good and useful for our digestive system. But not only that, mentally they're really good if you suffer from a little bit of anxiety ever. They just help to open the front of the body up a little bit. So you can feel that you can take one of those deep breaths that sometimes anxiety stops us from doing. Last big breath. and then you're going to slowly come out. If you're on a block, just move it out of the way and you're going to come onto all fours. So we're going to take what's called tabletop position, and you're going to start with your hands shoulder distance apart, knees hip distance apart. Make sure that shoulders stack nicely over your wrists and your hips over your knees. When you're ready, you're going to take cat-cow. So as you inhale, you're going to lift the tailbone towards the ceiling. You're going to let the belly button drop towards the mat. You're going to lift the heart forwards and up. As you exhale, tuck the tailbone under. Pull the belly button in towards the spine, chin to chest, and really press that mat away from you. Inhale as you open up. Exhale as you round. So this should hopefully encourage you to slow that breath down. If you find yourself going on like this, just see if we can slow that breath to movement. Inhaling, opening up. Exhale, tucking in. Just take 3 more rounds of your cat-cow. When you've finished, come back to your tabletop position. So we're going to open the shoulders a little bit. So as you inhale now, reach the right arm towards the ceiling. As you exhale, we're going to thread that right arm underneath the left, really reaching through as far as is comfortable. Then inhale, reach it back up again. Exhale, thread it through. 3 more. Inhale, open. Exhale, soften under. When you've done your 5, you're going to take it to the other side. Inhale with the left arm. So as you open up, get to know your body. How does this shoulder compare to the other one? Exhale, threading through. Inhale, open up. And thread. 3 more with your own breath in your own time. So you might find every time you open up, that shoulder goes back a little bit further than the time before it. Or you might find that it feels just as stiff as the time it did before, and that's okay. After that 5th breath, you're going to come back on to all fours. And then we're going to just take the knees out nice and wide. You're going to bring the big toes together, and you're going to drop your hips down onto your heels. And this is what we call child's pose. Walk the hands forward and just let your forehead rest on the mat. You're going to just hold it there for about 5 or 6 breaths, and really breathing into the tummy, side of the ribs, and that back space as well. You can come into this posture at any point in any class, in any yoga flow ever. It's meant to be our resting pose, and you can take it whenever you need to. It doesn't even need to be instructed in the class that you're in. If you need a moment, come into that child's pose. So just a couple more breaths here. Then we're going to lift that forehead. We're going to come into that downward facing dog. So we're going to lift the hips, walk the hands out in front of you. So you want your hands to be shoulder distance apart. Middle fingers are facing up and thumbs rolling in. Unless you find that with your arms straight, if your forearm goes out in the opposite direction like this does, then you're going to have a slightly wider stance with your downward facing dog. Assuming you haven't, we're going to go for the norms. The hands to the mat, we're going to curl the toes under, and then we're going to lift the hips towards the ceiling. So you're looking at getting a rough V shape here in your downward dog. So when you come in, usually the back of the legs feel nice and tight, a little bit stiff. So you're going to just take your downward dog for a bit of a walk, marching those legs out, maybe bending one knee, lengthening the other, just holding here for a couple of breaths. And then obviously do the other side. Or if you'd rather move a little bit quicker, you can march your legs out like that. And as your feet are hip distance apart, and please, please don't sweat it if your heels don't touch the mat. Look at mine, they're nowhere near it and I don't actually care. What we're looking for in our downward dog is to have a nice long line through our spine. So get rid of this, must get my heels down mentality and think I must have a nice long spine. So as you press the mat away from you, lift the hips and push the top of the thighs towards the back of the room. You can hold it here for a couple of breaths, maybe 2 or 3. You might start to feel a bit of heat coming in now as well. Remember, child's pose is always there. If you're ready, we're going to inhale, lift our right leg towards the ceiling. As you exhale, step the right foot to the top of the mat. Now don't worry if your foot comes to here, you have to grab the ankle and pull it up to the top. We all have to do that at some point. Then with the hands staying grounded, we're going to come down onto your left knee. Inhale, reaching those arms up into a low crescent lunge. Just going to hold it here for a couple of breaths. Make sure that that knee is tracking the ankle and not going too far over the toes if you can help it. Another big breath in. As you exhale, gently bend the elbows, lifting the heart. And take a big breath into that chest space. Then we're going to reach the hands up. Exhale, bring the hands to the top of the mat to frame your front foot. Lift the left knee, and as you exhale, step your left foot to meet the right into a forward fold. Inhale, we're going to lift halfway. So we're going to lengthen the spine, pull the heart forward, tailbone is going to lengthen towards the bottom of the mat. And then as you exhale, we're going to come back into your fold. So bend the knees if you need to. We're looking to get your chest on your thighs, okay? So that might mean we have to bend these knees. We're going to take ragdoll fold first, so just holding the outside edges of the elbows, maybe having a little sway from side to side. Just use this fold to really let go. Let the head go, let the neck go. And then we're going to drop the hands to the mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold forwards. We're going to step your right leg back now and come down onto your right knee. Inhale, low crescent lunge. Finding your space, maintaining your posture while breathing deeply. Inhale, 1. And exhale. 2. 3. Then as you exhale, we're going to bend the elbows, we're going to open the front of the chest just like we did on the other side. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, hands to the mat. We're going to lift your right knee and we're going to take it back to a plank pose. I want you to come onto your knees here. I'm going to take what's called chaturanga, or knees, nose, chin, chest. So keeping the knees down for now. We're going to shift the weight forward slightly. You're going to keep the elbows nice and tight, and you're going to take the nose down towards the mat. Followed by the chin. You're going to push that heart through, uncurl the toes, press into the tops of the feet and lift the heart into your cobra. As you exhale, lower the chest down towards the mat. Inhale, lift back into cobra. Keep the shoulders soft. Exhale back down. I'm going to do that 2 or 3 more times. So activate the glutes, really press the tops of the feet down. Exhale back in. Once more. And then we're going to curl the toes. We're going to lift the hips back into that downward facing dog. Inhale, take your right leg up. As you exhale, step it to the top of the mat. Again, don't worry if you're pulling that foot to the top, that's fine. You're going to come into warrior 2. So as you inhale, reach the arms up. You're going to ground the back foot so that it's parallel to the short edge of your mat and your front foot is parallel to the long edge. You could either have your front heel in alignment with your back heel or front heel in alignment with the arch of your foot. At the moment, I haven't got neither, so I'm going to fix that up a little bit. And then we're going to sink into our warrior 2. So just make sure this knee stays tracking that ankle, and it will have a tendency to have a cheeky little roll in from now and then. You just need to make sure you roll that knee out to the edge of your mat, and you'll feel the inner thighs start to wake up. You're probably thinking, well, it's awake now already, thank you. And then we're going to sink deeper. Then we're going to take reverse warrior. So we're going to flip your right palm, left hand is going to come to the back of that left thigh. As you inhale, reach all the way up until you feel a nice stretch coming into that right side of the body. Really take the breath there now. 3 breaths. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to move in for what's called Trikonasana. So we're going to start to straighten this right leg. We're going to pull this hip back, and as we reach forward with that right arm, we're going to take it all the way down to the mat perhaps. Maybe you've got a block there, you can hold on to the big toe, or you can just place that hand to the ankle. Then your left arm is going to extend, stacking over the right. Now you might feel that right knee doesn't feel very nice. You can maybe micro bend it. You could lift the toes, but just try not to lock this joint if you can help it. Then we're going to inhale back into warrior 2. We're going to take the hands all the way down to the mat. Take your time, don't rush. Unplug your left heel, push back to your plank. Lift the hips back into downward facing dog. And then we've got to do the other side. So I'm going to turn around for you. So while you lift your left leg, I'm going to turn. And as you exhale, we're going to step that left leg to the top of the mat. Sorry, my necklace just smacked me in the tooth. Back foot is going to ground in line with the short edge of your mat once again as you cartwheel those arms up into your warrior. So in the beginning, don't worry too much about what you look like. Think, well, how do I feel? Do I feel strong here? Do I feel grounded? Do I feel a little bit sweaty? What's going on? Then we're going to flip that left palm and we're going to reverse your warrior once again. Holding for another 3 breaths on this side. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go back for that Trikonasana or triangles pose. Take the bend out of your left knee, reaching forwards with that left arm, creating lots of lovely space for the underside of the body. Exhaling as you come in to your Trikonasana. So usually we'll take the gaze towards your top thumb, but if your neck doesn't like that, you can look out straight ahead, or you might even prefer to take your gaze down to the mat, and that's fine. We can modify, we can tweak these postures. No one comes out of the womb being able to nail their yoga. Then when you're ready, inhale back into that warrior 2. You might want to hold it there for a little bit, or you might think, no thank you, I'd like to leave now. And then you're going to take the hands all the way down to the mat. We're going to unplug your right heel, and then we're going to step your right foot to the top of your mat. Inhale, heart forwards, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. So you could go for that ragdoll one that we took a moment ago, or you might prefer to take hold of the big toes with the peace fingers, bend at the elbows and tuck that chest towards the thighs. So you can see that my knees are clearly bent. I've got really tight hamstrings. I could take the fold without holding it, straighten it, without bending my knees. But then if you look at my back, we've got a lot of lovely rounding going on. We want to try and avoid that if we can in our forward fold. I know in the beginning we just want to be like, but I can touch my toes, I can touch my toes, which is amazing, don't get me wrong. But start to think about the space in your back. So it might mean we have to bend those knees a little bit, and that is fine. Taking 3 more breaths in your forward fold. 1, 2, 3. And then you can either choose to roll up nice and slowly, or you can use one big breath and come all the way up with that. I'm going to roll up. Make sure that your head is the last thing to come up. When you come up, just take a moment here in Tadasana. Tadasana is mountain toes, or aka standing. So you're going to spread the toes and just get as much contact with the soles of the feet as you can. Palms are going to face forward, and this posture is really calming and grounding, especially if you do it barefoot on the ground. Let the shoulders draw back, let the heart lift, and we're just going to take 3 grounding breaths here. Inhale 1, 2, 3. So slowly blink the eyes open if you've got them closed. And I'm just going to take tree pose. I'm sure you've probably heard of tree pose. So I'm going to start with your right foot. I'm going to press into the right leg, right foot first. And your tree might look different to the tree pictures that you've seen online or wherever. This is your tree, so you're going to own whichever tree you've got. So option 1 is to just bring that foot to the inside of your ankle. Press into the tippy toes, and we're still building on that ankle strength and working the calf muscles. You could go foot to the shin or the calf, or you can go foot to thigh. Just try and avoid pressing your foot into the kneecap. I mean, nothing bad will happen, no unicorns will die or anything like that, but it's just a bad habit to get into. I probably shouldn't have said that, but that's how I take it, but there you go. Then we're going to put the foot into the thigh if you've gone here, or you can bring that foot all the way up into that hip crease if you really want to. Just encourage that knee away from you, bring your hands to your heart center. Find a focal point that's not going to wobble perhaps on moves, and maybe there's a mark or a photo on your wall somewhere, and just draw your awareness and your attention to that space. If you wobble, you wobble. If you fall, you fall. Just get back up again. If you want to challenge your balance some more, maybe just close the eyes for a few breaths. Balance doesn't like that. And you're welcome to stay here. If you want to go further, we're going to take a side bend. So you're going to take your left hand to your left knee. Right arm will reach for the sky. And as you exhale, maybe take a very gentle bend to the side. Hold it for as long as you feel comfortable to. You can come out whenever you need to. Inhale, reaching up. And then we're going to slowly take it out and go to the other side. So you might find that your tree doesn't look the same on the other side. My tree prefers it here on this side, and that's okay. We look symmetrical, but actually internally we're not too symmetrical. It's the same as before. Find your variation, find your focal point, and really feel that connection between your foot and the ground. If you feel that you start to wobble, the ankles start to get a little bit immobile, then just press into that big toe, mobile rather, and lift the inner arch of your grounded foot. If you're going for the bend, right hand to right knee, left arm is going to find that reach, exhaling as you bend. 3. You can always close your eyes in the bend, and we're going to come back up. If you don't like the bend, just stay with your tree for a few more breaths. Last one. And then we're going to take that right foot down onto the mat. So maybe you're at the top of the mat, maybe you're at the bottom. We're going to just spread the toes now. Shift the weight forwards, backwards, side to side. And then we're going to just take the arms to the side of the body. Close the eyes, and I want you to take 5 full breaths. Big breaths all the way into that balloon, into the tummy, feeling the expansion. Exhale as it comes back in. 4 more. And just bring your hands to your heart center. If you've got a little bit longer to practice, then you might prefer to come down onto your mat, into that laying down position that we started with. And maybe just put one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest, and just sit with that breath for a little while. But if you're busy, you've got stuff to do, school runs, lunches, dinners, then you might want to leave your practice here. So we're just going to bow forwards and bring our practice to a close.